Hi, this is Tracy, and today I'm going to talk about the narcissist and the gift-giving patterns that they have. Narcissists don't give gifts like normal people. When a normal person gives a gift, they generally think about the person that they are getting it for, and they put thought and care and meaning behind every gift. But we have to remember that narcissists don't really know you. And so they can tend to give really shitty gifts. It's just a fact. There are very many different spectrums of gift giving in narcissists, so I'm going to kind of cover a few that I know. Again, I am not a doctor. I am a recovering narcissist abuse victim, or survivor, as I prefer to say. But I have had a lot of experience in this particular arena. So I'm going to talk to you about 2X, my second husband. Crazy gifts, and overdoing it in every possible way that he could. It wasn't just to me or my son, it was to everyone that he knew. He was just this very gregarious sort of person that gave to everybody, and people liked him because of it. He was buying votes. He was buying people's love by insisting upon buying dinners everywhere we went. And it didn't matter how many people came out, my husband would pick up the check. And the people got used to it. They just got used to, if you go out with him, he's going to pay. And they wouldn't even bring money because that's not the way he plays. But it was buying their love, buying their friendship, if you think about it. He was an overgiver. He would not buy me 1 dozen roses, he would buy me 5. He would not buy 1 pair of black shoes, he would buy 10. It was his way to overcompensate for all of the weaknesses in his real soul that he didn't have. Now, if I could go back to my old Tracy makes excuses for people, this is the pattern that he grew up with. His parents are, soulless beings that put him in boarding school when he was young, and he really didn't have a relationship with them until he was older. But the only way that they would compensate abandoning him and putting him in a private school was to give him gifts. And so he ended up resenting these gifts. He ended up thinking, I don't want these gifts because, they're blood money. And at the same time, while he was rejecting gifts, and he does not to this day like to get gifts, by doing this became what he knew, and how to make people love you was to buy them things, to shower them with gifts. That's what he did. Being bought by a narcissist comes with very many strings attached. I have a prop. We talk about strings attached to these gifts. They are going to use these strings on every gift that they give you. They control you by accepting a gift with a string dangling from it. You'll have that string attached to you, and they attach it, and they'll bring it back whenever they need to. Luxury gifts, big items. They love to give those. This is, again, there's 2 types. The I like to give gifts and the I don't like to give gifts. This is all talking about my ex and his incredible generosity spirit that was fake. He used to love to get us luxury gifts, but he also did luxury gifts for forgiveness gifts. So after he was a shit and a jerk, after I would find, girls texting him, saying that they loved him and they missed him so much when I was on my honeymoon with him, he would have an excuse for that. But then the forgiveness gifts would come. If he was mean to my son, if he did something wrong, if he, I'm not even going to get into the things that he had done to him, but he would use gifts. Here, want a new Apple computer? Now you like me again. See? That was his trick. And it's really easy to be swallowed into it. When I first met him and all of their money, I did not want any gifts. I refused gifts. I wouldn't even let him pay for dinner. But the more they did it, the more it was in our face, the more I was forced to accept these gifts. And basically, I was turning into a prostitute that could be bought for a gift. And they were testing me. So it started out small. How much would she take? And how much crap can we give her? And then we buy her an iPad. Would that make her better? They're testing me, and they did test me. So one of the things that really, really bothered me, which was a gift-giving thing, was my two exes' family who had accepted my child as their grandson promised us, they were very wealthy, they promised us that they were going to pay for his education. They told us year after year, as my normal motherly thing said, I have to save for education. I need to put money in the bank. I have to save for education. And they would tell me, no, don't save for education. We've got you covered. Don't save for education. We've got you covered. And so we didn't. And we lived higher on a hog than we should have because we had this safety net. We didn't have to put money in the bank. And in the end, when they asked for my divorce right after my son graduated from school, they walked away from that education, that promise. They also walked away from me 10 years of saving for my college education for my son because they told me they had it covered. They walked away and they left this child at an Ivy League school because that's all they would pay for the education. He couldn't go into a normal college. It had to be a tier 1, tier 2 school because that's what they insisted upon. And my son chose a very expensive school, a really good school in Washington, D.C., and they walked away. So they dangled the rope. They dangled it for 10 years. And the strings attached were promises that we were going to get an education because we are family. And yet, in the end, we got nothing. They left me and my son no education and just a dangling rope. Go ahead, bail yourself out. Haha, we were only kidding. Narcissists and gift giving, beware of it. Beware of promises, beware of things they give you. There's always something in it. They want to control you. There's a lot more we can talk about it, but it's always about control. It's always about them wanting to control you. So be careful of gifts in sheep's clothing. Beware of someone that you're with that feels that giving is a controlling tool. Watch what they do. It's okay for people to give you gifts. Totally good. Be careful. With 3X, I had just come out of this relationship. See, I just made a punch. I had just come out of this relationship with someone who over-gifted me. And it was fake, and I didn't like it, and I was never, ever, ever, ever comfortable with it. So I told 3X, I don't want someone to give me gifts. I don't need someone to shower me with gifts. I don't need that. I don't want it. And so he listened. It was a dream come true for him. He could get his Narc supply, and he didn't have to buy me very much, except for when he really fucked up. And so be careful what you ask for. But I think someone giving gifts under normal circumstances, it's a ball of fun. But if there's conditions and strings attached, beware.